Thanks for joining us. This is Live with Miami's Community News, and we have a great subject. We love pets around here. Our folks love pets and all sorts of critters, even the ones that are not our pets that are out, our four-legged friends that are walking and some flying
Equal
around.
opportunity lover. Huh?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
So again, our guests today are Ruben Arce and Flora Beal with the Miami-Dade County Animal Services Division.
Thank you for having us. It's a pleasure to be here as always.
Okay, we want to promote your logo here, and it says connect, adopt, and love.
Yes,
How great is that?
It's amazing, and it's very intentional that we use that as our identifier to make sure that the community steers away from that old conception of animal control and the fact that we are in the business of saving lives, right? We are about protecting the welfare of the animals in our community while also protecting the public safety.
That is a distinct difference from 20 years ago and 25 years ago.
Absolutely it is. There has been a huge shift in the animal welfare community nationwide. And certainly we have been at the forefront of that, I would say. Yeah, I would dare to say. And we've saved a lot of animal lives. I think since we adopted that no-kill mission that we have at Animal Services, we've saved, what was it, like 250,000 lives since 2015, which is the first year that we achieved our no-kill mission. And we actually have attained that no-kill status every year since then, saving more than 93% of the animals that came to us this year.
That's phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
That is absolutely phenomenal. I do want to give a shout out to Michael Roseberg, Rita Schwartz, who years ago saw the light and said, let's see if we can improve that. And you got to give it to all the people around the county, I think the residents, and then the government that said, yes, let's spend some time, energy, and money, and not just save the animals, but create families with the humans with their four-legged friends.
Absolutely. Anytime that you take another living creature into your home, they become a member of the family, right? So, and that kind of brings us to our point when we're talking about hurricane preparedness and the fact that your pets are a member of the family. And if there is an emergency, if there is an evacuation order for you to leave your home because of a hurricane that's coming, a storm that's coming, the last thing you're going to do is leave your pet behind, right?
Yes.
So when you do that emergency planning, when you are before the hurricane even comes, right now in May is a perfect time to do your hurricane planning because hurricane season starts in June. And you want to make sure that your hurricane preparedness plan includes your pets. Wherever you go, your pets need to go.
So, and let's talk about crating dogs and cats, right? Years ago, I thought that was really lousy to do, but it's really, you're helping save them. That if they can be in a crate, I'm not talking about like jamming on there, but they see it as a place of safety and comfort. So if people have really young animals, do you suggest they have a crate out there, see if they can get them to go in there?
Absolutely. And the age of the animal, certainly if you start training them, if you get them as puppies and you make them more accustomed to it, it's a lot easier. But it really doesn't matter what age they are. You can always crate train your pet. And it is kind of a safety zone for them. It's kind of their little cocoon where they feel safe and they'll go in willingly. So you don't have to, it's not traumatic for them when they do have to go in because you're, staying somewhere where they have to be crated or they have to be put in a safe place. So it is an ideal thing to be able to train your pets that way. My pets are trained that way. They have their crates. They never spend any time in there because they're kind of free roaming in the home, but they're so comfortable with it that when they do see their crates come out of storage, they're more than willing to go into it.
So I understand now how the word man cave was developed. The wife said, you're safe in there, stay over there. All right, so we have hurricane season that's coming up. Ruben is going, yes,
I know.
I get it.
I know, I get it.
That was good, Michael. That was good.
Really great segue.
Yes. Hurricane season is here, all right? It starts officially next month, right? June.
Yes,
right?
yes.
June, in a couple of weeks it starts.
Couple weeks.
We're right here.
So you're having a couple events coming up. You just had two. You have two more coming up. Tell us about
those. So
we
we are very fortunate that we've gotten so many grants, but I'll let Ruben tell you.
Yeah, absolutely.
This grant-funded project.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Michael. Thanks, Flora. So we have been out in the community since May, and obviously we're always promoting microchipping in the county. We know how important microchipping is for your pets. So if you have a pet at home, consider microchipping your pet, especially during this time, this upcoming hurricane season. Now, to go back to the Petsmart Hurricanes charity grant that we received, this was a grant that is allowing animal services to go out into communities, providing free vaccination services, free hurricane kits for cat or dogs, and free microchipping, which is a phenomenal service. A lot of people still are on the fence about microchipping, but in the event that your pet gets lost and your pet is microchipped, it increases the chance of you being reunited with those pets. So I'm glad you mentioned that we have 2 more events, right? And these events that we've been doing have been such a success, with people coming out, members of the community just asking questions, being provided a big bag of dog or a cat food, and registering microchips for the first time for their pet, which is really, truly valuable to the community.
So you have one event tomorrow. That's the 15th on Saturday. Today's Friday. Do I have that right?
Yeah, you have that right.
It's good thing it was right on here. That's all.
Oh, it's a good thing we gave it to you. Yeah, and there's actually appointments still available, so you can call still and make some appointments to come in. It is by appointment, and you do have to show proof of eligibility. The grant actually specifies that it is for individuals who have been financially impacted by COVID. So anything that is dated post the 12th, March 12th of last year, which is when the state of emergency went into effect. If you received food stamps since then, if you got unemployment, rental assistance, any kind of documentation of that nature, if you receive SSI, you can come in, just show the proof there when you
But
bring
they need
your
to call
pet.
ahead of time? Or
Yeah, you need to make an appointment.
Yes,
It's
so they do
recommended.
need to call 311 to make an appointment to come down, because the supplies are limited and we are going to be giving them out until supplies last.
And then you have the following weekend, you also have one.
Yes, there's another one next Saturday. But you don't want to wait, because remember, it's about until supplies last.
Yes.
So
Right.
you want to go this week if you can.
All right, so let's talk about excluding this program that's there. People are saying, I want to get my shots for my dog, my cat. I want a license, and I want to get chipped.
Mm-hmm.
Where can they go, and more or less, how much is that?
So
ahead.
yeah, so we're so excited to talk about our services. Michael, this is a really great question. So in addition to coming out to the hurricane events, right? So we have one this weekend, and the following weekend, you can come out to our center in Doral, our wellness clinic in Doral. We have our services that we provide, vaccination services for dogs and cats. We also provide that option of getting your pet microchipped. If your pet requires one and you would like one, you can get a microchip at our center. You can also get a license for a dog or a cat. And a lot of people might not be familiar. You can also get one with a cat. So pricing is really affordable. We have low cost pricing. So just give you an example, rabies vaccination, you can get for as little as $5 if you qualify. If you're a low income resident, you provide documentation and proof. And that proof, as Flora mentioned, could be, your SSI, your Jackson Memorial Health Card, proof that you're receiving food stamps. It's usually an eligibility letter that we'll ask you for. And if you don't have that, you'll pay $15 for a rabies shot.
For 3 years.
For
the 3-year
yep.
shot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so when somebody gets a chip, if that dog gets lost, all right, and you guys wind up with them, you do the magic scan, and then the pertinent information is there.
Yeah, so really important to remember that anytime that there is a hurricane, you see a lot more pets out in the community. We tend to, see an increase in the number of pets that come in, because they do get loose, they do get lost. And we want to remind everybody that the most effective way for you to make sure that your pet is quickly returned to you is if they wear their collar. It's so simple. If they have their collar with their ID tags and the rabies tag, you can be reunited with your pet really quickly. The minute somebody finds them, they're going to look at those tags and figure it out, right? Your microchip is your best backup, because sometimes those tags will break off. Sometimes the collar gets loose, and the next thing you know, they're not wearing their collar anymore. Or maybe you just bathed them, in your house
Right,
during regular
right.
times, that you just bathed them and they just got out of the yard. So just in case they, for whatever reason, aren't wearing their collar with their tags, then your microchip is your best backup. And anytime that we encounter a pet out in the community, when our officers are out, picking up strays, their first thing that they're going to do is check for the collar. The second thing they're going to do is scan with a microchip wand, to make sure that pet has a microchip. If they do, within, a few minutes, you're going to have your pet back. They're going to call you up and let you know, hey, I just found your pet down the street, mile down, wherever they are, and you're going to get your pet back.
And what a thrill that is. We had a dog. I see the collar, and I go, I live down the street from you. How's your dog? He's in the backyard. I said, no, he's not. He's in my front yard. So that's how fast it was. They came
there you
over
go.
and they fetched their pet.
So Mike, I want to add something to that. So not only, should you get your microchip implant, with your pet, if you choose to do so, but once you get that done, please go online and register the microchip. Make sure that microchip is registered in your name and that information is up to date, because when one of our officers or when your pet comes into our care, we'll scan it. We'll do our due diligence in researching who this pet belongs to. In this case, if we scan it and we see that it goes to a particular microchip company, we'll follow up. We'll see who the pet owner is, and then we'll reach out to you to make that reunification.
So we know when the hurricanes and come, even before that with thunderstorms, that our little friends get really scared. And sometimes they hide and sometimes they run away.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so during this time of thunderstorms and hurricanes, it's really important because those guys, when they get out, they may be gone for a long time.
Yeah, we've had some cases at the center where you've had pets that have gone missing, and we've been able to reunify them thanks to the microchip. 2 years later, 6 years later, 9 years later, we had a story that aired a while back about a Chihuahua that for 9 years had been missing, and somebody found them, took him to the shelter, and we were able to call that woman and say, hey, we've got your pet. And she's like, oh my God, he's been missing for 9 years. I mean, the tears of joy, and even being able to be reunited with that pet, even 9 years later.
So what is it like when you find somebody's pet and they tell you they're on the other end, and you say to them, hey, listen, we have your pet. It's been missing for a week or two, or in this case, 9. So what does it feel like for you to be able to help in that reunification?
I think it starts, the feeling of joy and relief starts from the minute that you scan for the microchip and you realize that the pet has a microchip. And then you go on and you realize that the person did register their information, and that you're just going to be able to pick up that phone and get in touch with that pet's owner. It starts from right there. But then once you get that person on the line and you're able to communicate to them and say, hey, I've got your pet, the pure delight and joy and relief that you can hear over the phone, just of that person just saying, oh my God, thank you. Thank goodness I'll be there in a few minutes, a few hours to pick up my pet. I think that is a very rewarding experience. And then being able to just hand them over their pet. And there's often tears of joy that happen in our offices when that
Ruben's got a story back there. Look at him.
I mean, this is something, that Animal Services does see on a daily basis. And, just going back to all of the programs we have in place, not just getting our pets out into homes, but also our lost and found program that we have. When people come in, and pet owners come in and they've lost their pet, there's an office dedicated for it. They come in, they're directed to someone who will assist them one-on-one and give them that time that they need, because this is such how could I put it?
It's an emotional.
It's so emotional for this pet owner, that this best friend of theirs, or their daughter or their son, because sometimes they will call them, this is my son, my daughter is missing. And we have an office, we have a process in place for them. And when we're able to make that connection, it's such a wonderful experience. And true story, when you were saying the story, about the Chihuahua, imagine missing a relative for 9 years. Again, we're saying relative because pet owners, and we're pet owners, and we love our pets. But this Chihuahua was missing for 9 years. And the pet owner just, as soon as they got that call, I can imagine all those memories came back, all those times that they struggled to find this pet, and Animal Services made that connection for them, and they were reunited.
Thanks to that microchip.
Now, Flora, we see that social media is making pets more part of the family. I watch every night. All right, sort of puts me to sleep. There's one about pit bulls, and there's one about the herder dog, and last night I was watching one with a mother cat, had kittens, and there were some little ducklings that lost his mother, and they were all together. It's like, holy moly! So we see this humanity that's there. So the ducks grow up, the cats, the mother did, and they're walking around, bonded like that. So let's talk about again back to hurricane. So in a month or three, we get a call and say, "Hey, listen, got a big storm coming. If you live over yonder, you need to evacuate." How does that work for the multiple pet owner?
So you are able to, in case of an emergency, the county does designate certain emergency evacuation centers, shelters as pet friendly, and you are able to bring your pets with you. There is a limit of 4 pets per household.
4 pets per household. Mm-hmm.
But we will house them there. We will help you care for them while the hurricane is going on and until you can get back into your home. So there are provisions.
And if they're in crates, it's a whole lot easier.
And if they're in crates, it's a whole lot easier if they've been trained so that they're not freaking out when they're in the crates, because they do have to be in a designated area when they're in the evacuation centers, the shelters. So it's really important for them to be kind of accustomed to being there so that they're not anxiety ridden or stressed out. Because remember, when we stress out in these types of emergencies, they have the same types of feelings and emotions. I mean, you were talking about a mama cat who raised the little duckling. It shows the level of empathy and emotional intelligence that animals do have, I think. And we have to remember that when we stress out, they stress out too. So, and also bring things like, their favorite blanket, their favorite little stuffed toy that they'd like to play with, just enrichment toys that they can keep inside the crate so that they're mentally stimulated and have a sense of comfort while they're there.
So I'm seeing more and more on social media where the adults refer to them as their child and say, and the dog, that's your father.
I have
and
2 fur babies, and I'm a fur mom. I'm a parent.
All right. And it's, dun, 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
So, and it's amazing to see that process, to see that change. And it's certainly making us better people and human beings. So let's go back to the events. When somebody goes to your event, what information can they get, and what are they going to leave with?
So for the event, so the hurricane event that we have now going on. So for tomorrow, if someone were to show up, they can get a microchip for their pet. They can get their pet vaccinated against rabies. They can get their booster shots, and they will leave with a hurricane kit.
I think we actually have a picture of the hurricane kit.
Do we have a picture?
We do have a picture of the hurricane kit, but tell them what's in the little hurricane bag kit.
So it's highly recommended, and that now and even before now, for pet owners out there to prepare supplies for their pets. In this case, Animal Services at these hurricane events, we're giving a bag, a hurricane supply bag, which includes food, water bowls, water, a toy, a blanket. And, in the case an emergency does happen, those pet owners who come tomorrow, they'll have that readily available to them, right? Because we know maybe tomorrow there's a storm system that's coming in from the south or from the west or the north or wherever it comes in from, and we want those pet owners to be ready. We want them to feel ready. What you can do now, if you don't make it out to the event and you want to prepare in the meantime, you should prepare at least 2 weeks of supplies. That includes a bag with food, water, toys, a blanket, and as Flora mentioned before, a crate or carrier that your pet is used to being inside of, because you don't know where the emergency is going to take you. If you decide to come to a pet-friendly evacuation center, or if you decide to evacuate and maybe you go to a friend or a family's house further up north or outside of the path of the storm, the pending storm, you should have this ready. Not only should you have that, you should have your pets with their collars. Medical records definitely appreciated to have, because in the event that you need to evacuate or shelter down in a pet-friendly evacuation center, that will be one of the items that you'll be asked for, is your pet's medical records. You should have photos, take photos often.
Proof of rabies.
Proof of rabies is also on your medical records, and cleaning supplies if you need them, because unfortunately, when an emergency happens, you don't know how long it's going to be. It could be a couple of days, it can be a week, it could be 2 weeks, and you want to be ready in advance.
So who was the benefactor for all those supplies?
So the grantor here was a Petsmart Charities, right?
Petsmart Charities.
They gave us a grant to help keep families together and for pet safety and saving pet lives. And so we're extremely thankful to them. The free The free services that are available right now, the vaccinations, etc. It's all made possible through their generosity, and we couldn't be doing it without them. So we're so very grateful that they've chosen to invest in our community this way.
And so again, so if people need to get more information about the services that are provided by Animal Services for the county, they can go to miamidade.gov.
Yes, if you go to miamidade.gov/hurricanes, so that's miamidade.gov/hurricanes, you will be able to go in there. You will be able to see everything that you need to do before, during, and after a hurricane. And there is actually information there specific to pet owners and what they need for their pets.
By the way, the Fish and Wildlife has a hurricane plan, or you have to create a hurricane plan to give to Fish and Wildlife for exotic animals. And want to
Really?
know, yes,
I love it.
yes. It's say if you this is what are you going to do? All right, where are you going to go with your pets or your caged animals? So it was nice to see that the Fish and Wildlife is doing that as well. So we're almost at the end of May, but May is the Microchip Your Pet Month. All right.
Yes.
All right, and it's pretty darn important. All right,
It
to
is.
microchip your pet. And the first thing though was to be able to get the collar. Years ago, I see this old beagle walking down the street. I see him all the time, but he's sort of away from his house. So I call Animal Services. It wasn't called that then. And they go, "Oh, that's so and so's dog." They knew the dog. It's right down the street. So
he was a habitual offender.
yes, he was. Okay, so let's see. We've got. Let's talk about the Friends of Miami Animals and the Underline. Tell us about their involvement with this.
Yeah. So this month we have an event that we do at the Underline. It's called Pause at the Underline, and it's promoting Animal Welfare Saturdays. It's the first Saturday of every month. We go out and we pick a specific theme that we're going to go with. And since this month was National Microchipping Month, or Microchip Your Pet Month, as you stated, we decided that we were going to do some microchipping, and actually FOMA sponsored the event, providing free microchips.
Yolanda Berkowitz.
Yolanda Berkowitz, her Friends of Miami
Thank
Animals Foundation. Thank you, Yolanda. And her board and her team, they sponsored the first 25 microchips for the pets and any rabies related to those 25 that needed to be done, any rabies shots. So we were able to get those pets free microchips, and then everybody else who came in, of course, got it at low cost.
And so how did you, so you have some of these events at the Underline under there, right? It's interesting because we just were talking with the Miami-Dade professor and two of their students. They were part of a team that invented this really neat app at the Underline. You can go and you go on a hunt.
Like a scavenger hunt.
Yes, virtually.
So cool.
All right, there's some artifacts, and here's all information about what's going on there. So Meg Daly, is that her name?
Meg Daly.
Meg Daly, yes.
Daly, all right.
Daly.
So she and the team and people that care a lot, all right, are bringing attention to that particular part of Miami-Dade County and the city of Miami. So I'm happy for everybody that we're getting these lessons, and it's nice that you're going around, to do that. So lots of people want to know, how much does it hurt the pet when we take this microchip and put it in them? And what is the size of the microchip?
Well, actually, I think we can show it to you. So, Tommy, you want to show that video that we've got? We actually just recently did a video to show to the community to let them know how the microchipping process works and how it's done. And you're actually going to see a pet that gets it done right now.
Hi, my name is Susan Marizita. I'm the clinic administrator for Miami-Dade Animal Services. We will show you how the microchipping is implanted and explain a little bit about registering. If for any reason your pet is not wearing a tag, microchipping is the best backup to make sure that we can quickly reunite you with your pet. Here is the microchip, and here is the barcode with the ID number that's attached to the microchip. Here in this card, which comes with every microchip, you can find the website information to register your contact information. And with this, we scan your pet. So here is the microchip that we are going to implant. It is a quick and easy process. It is a little pinch that goes in between the shoulder blades. And it's nice, and the scanner will pick up the microchip. Here at Miami-Dade Animal Services, we provide low-cost microchipping, or you can visit your local vet.
It's a little tiny thingy.
It's a little, it's a little bit bigger than the shot that you use to get your flu vaccine.
Yeah, and the microchip's actually about less than a grain of rice.
Yeah, it's really tiny, small. The puppy didn't even flinch when she did it, and it's really quick and simple and easy. And quite frankly, if it's going to save you from losing your pet, why not do it?
We noticed that the Chihuahua there had a cover. Was that so it didn't bite anybody? Or is that because
it's a safety precaution?
Was there some other COVID reason for that?
No, it's a basic safety precaution. You do want to make sure, because you don't know if they're going to turn around and get startled or nip. I mean, when you get your shot, you feel the little pinch, and you just never know. So it's always just a safety precaution to make sure nobody gets bitten.
So we see that the doctor showed us the different things you need to do. But for sure, people need to go and register that. Right?
Yes. So if you get your microchip and you don't go online to register the information, you might as well not have gotten the microchip, because it's going to be really difficult to track it down and get hold of you. So it's really important that once you do get your microchip, you go onto the website that you're given and you put in all of your pertinent information. Not only that, but if you move, if you change your phone number, if you decide that you're going to change your email, whatever the case may be, if there's any of that contact information that changes, you need to go back in. So always keep that information handy somewhere, in your emergency preparedness kit with all your important documents, that link to that website link, so that you can go and make sure that you update the system. And also give a call to 311 and make sure that you update the information that we have on file as well for you and your pet, because like we said, we just want to make sure that if for whatever reason your pet does go missing, that you're able to get them back as quickly as possible.
So for people over the age of 50, it's sort of like that Sun Pass. You put it on your car, you register it, and they could find that car somewhere. They could trace it right back to you.
They could trace it right back to you. It's like LoJack for pets, right?
All right. So let's do. Do we have a video on that for adopt a shelter pet and help save lives? Is there a video on that?
No, we don't have a video for that, but it's I go back to our no-kill mission and the fact that we could not do what we do and make the strides and make the achievements that we've made over the past few years without the help of the community. And that's everything from, the rescues who help us for the pets that have special needs, like Yolanda Berkowitz's foundation, and her individually, she does a lot of work with us for special needs pets that have medical issues or maybe temperament issues that they're dealing with at the shelter. And so we want to thank them. We want to thank all of the people that foster for us to help us, take care of our pets, but also the adopters. And we wouldn't be able to do it if we didn't have so many people in the community that choose to adopt and not shop, right?
Adopt and not shop.
Adopt, don't shop, right? So we want to take a moment to thank them and to just remind everybody who's watching that when you adopt a shelter pet, you're helping us save lives. So before you go to a pet store and spend thousands of dollars, you can come to Miami-Dade County Animal Services, give a shelter pet a second chance at a loving, caring family, give them a home, open your heart in your home. And it's really inexpensive, right? So you can't get a better deal.
Oh, I mean, you can take home a pet, for as little as $35. If you're taking home a cat or a kitten, a cat or a kitten, excuse me.
And right now you can take home two for the price of one.
You can actually take home two for the price of one. So any pet leaving from our care in our adoption center in Doral, and in any of our locations, depending on, whether you're in a Petsmart or you're at a Petco, they will leave already with their age-appropriate vaccinations. They'll be microchipped already. An adopter will get a contract. They'll get a medical history. And, for $35, you can take a cat or two. And for $65, you can take an adult dog. That's a dog that's 4 months of age and older. And you can even get a puppy if we have them available for $85. So really
no better deal in town.
Yeah, no better deal.
We have a minute and a half left, and the two of you are very passionate about what you do. And I would like you to each talk into the camera at different times, and
not at once, Michael.
And talk to some young person that's trying to figure out what they want to do and what drove you to serve the public like this.
I think I've spent the majority of my career in public service, and I find that there hasn't been in my lifetime yet a job that has been more rewarding than this, just to be able to dedicate what you do in life every day to going in and helping the animals in our community, helping those, being a voice for those who don't have a voice, and taking care of someone who really is dependent, right, of a pet that is really dependent on the human beings around it to be able to thrive and survive. And I think that if your passion is animals, then you can't go wrong in just finding a career in helping other creatures.
Thank you, Flora. Ruben, you're on.
So thank you, Flora. You took all the really good stuff. No, honestly, just like as Flora mentioned, doing the work that I've been able to do, being here, in animal services, seeing the engagement with the community, the pets that come in, hearing the stories, seeing these events. We truly are speaking for those who cannot speak for themselves. And it's easy, for us to consider, a dog or a cat, a person, because they have emotions just like you or I. They have needs just like you or I. And it's so important that, we're out here, doing this great work, and we're counting on, those at home, those hearing our messages to come out and adopt a pet. Don't shop for a pet, but consider, connecting with one, connecting and adopting loving one. And you'll find that forever commitment, and once you see that pet there, they'll love you unconditionally. They'll wait for you at that door. Before you're even at home, they're already scratching at the door because they heard your car alarm go off because you're walking towards the door. And they'll love you, and unconditionally. So please consider coming out and adopting from one of our centers and taking home, your forever pet.
And I would just like to remind everybody really quickly, since we've been talking about microchipping and hurricanes and everything, that if your pet doesn't have a microchip, or if it does, if you haven't been contacted by us, you lose your pet, the first place that you need to go is animal services, because we have hundreds of pets there that have been lost, that don't have microchips, that are waiting for their family to come looking for them. So it really should be, whether it's because there was a hurricane or not, it really should be your first stop whenever you lose a pet. And like we said, we have our lost and found office that can actually help you and guide you to like the different websites and give you tips on what you can do to make sure that if your pet is not microchipped and they did get lost, that you have the best chance possible to be able to be reunified with your pet.
We're going to wrap it up. Flora Beal and Ruben Arce, thank you very much for making a difference and for sharing your wisdom and for helping us connect, adopt, and love. Again, thank you very much for joining us live with My Music Community News. Have a great day, folks.